And here we go again.
I did a thing. I rode my bike down to Las Vegas for a day, and it was about 116 degrees in Las Vegas. Now, why would I do such a crazy thing, you ask? Well, a while back I talked about getting an electric motorcycle. And in Las Vegas, there happens to be a Zero dealership. Zero is the manufacturer of the SRS and the SRF. And at this dealership in Vegas, they allowed me to do a test ride on the SRF. Now, I have to say, I was pretty blown away. I've been considering for a while getting an electric motorcycle. Just electric vehicles in general intrigue me. I've had problems with cars leaking oil or using oil, and just a slew of different problems. And with all the problems I've had with my current car and the dealership that wouldn't provide me very much support unless I got Kia involved directly, I kind of decided that I really want to get away from ICEs and go towards electric. Well, I got to test ride this Zero SRF, and I mean, I've heard the stories. They're very torquey. They've got, you know, a decent amount of power. The only thing is the range. But you know what? With all of the electric vehicle charging stations that are popping up everywhere, especially here in southern Utah and in Nevada, the range kind of becomes less of an issue. But the way this bike felt, I mean, it was a very smooth ride. It was very quiet. It just felt good. But here's the thing. I planned on vlogging this whole thing so that you guys could see the experience. I get down there, I have all my GoPro paraphernalia, except I forgot to bring, in my infinite wisdom, I forgot to bring my GoPro mount for my helmet. So I have no place to mount my GoPro. And at that point I just said, you know what, screw this. I'm just gonna do my test ride, enjoy the day. And I have to say, not vlogging the experience on YouTube was a little bit freeing. It kind of took a pressure off and allowed me to do exactly that, to enjoy the ride. And it made me realize something. You know what? I love motovlogging, and I love you guys, my audience. But sometimes I just need some me time on a motorcycle. And you know what? That's okay. But back to Zero motorcycles, or electric motorcycles in general. Well, no, specifically Zero motorcycles. I'm gonna get one, and it's probably gonna be later this year after we get a few other things taken care of financially on our house. After experiencing that firsthand, I don't think I can not get one. Especially where I live so far from where I work, and I have an EV charging station right there in the parking lot at work. It's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I basically get free electricity for my motorcycle. But even apart from that, it's just a really fun ride. Now, there are better motorcycles out there than the Zero. There's the Energicas, and they do a lot of things on Energica that I like. Fast charging. You get a little bit more of a range on the Ego and the Ego RS, RS Plus, or whatever. But the closest Energica dealership is in California. The closest Zero dealership is 2 hours away from me. I mean, it's cool that Energica has a spot in MotoGP. Well, Moto E, I guess it is. That's cool, and I'm happy for them, because they seem like really good bikes, but unless they're willing to put up more dealerships or have more dealerships in the country, in more places than just California. California has like 3 of them. Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Zero, and then there are a few on the east side of the country. Unless Energica is gonna have more dealerships in more places in our country, or in the US, Zero's kind of gonna eat their lunch. Because Zero, at least in the consumer market, because Zero has a lot of dealerships here in our country. I mean, I've got one here in Utah. It's not the closest one to me, and the closest one for me is in Nevada, in Las Vegas. But I mean, it isn't just me. There are a lot of Zero dealerships here in the country, a lot more than Energica. So I'm gonna have to kind of go with Zero for right now. Does that mean I'll never get an Energica? No, that doesn't mean that at all. But in order for me to get an Energica, I have to be able to ride one first, and I don't buy before driving, and I'm not going all the way to California to test ride a motorcycle. And then there's Damon coming up next year, and I don't even know where their dealerships are going to be, because there aren't any currently, or at least they don't talk about any Damon dealerships. They look like good bikes, but the problem is they're the new kids. You can't get them. You can pre-order them. You've been able to pre-order them since last year, but they're not shipping anything until next year. And that's another thing, being the new kids on the block. I mean, we really have no way to compare them, no way to see their quality. And I'm sure they're good. How good, we don't know yet. But until they get a few years under their belt and they're able to work out some of the bugs with their new, hot off the assembly line motorcycles, I won't be looking at Damon anytime soon. Even though their bikes do look very pretty, and I'm intrigued by the push button customizable ergonomics. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna be getting rid of my Ninja anytime soon. I can guarantee you that. No, my Ninja will still be my weekend fun / hopefully track days in the future bike. because it is a good bike and I do enjoy my Ninja. But on the ride home up from Vegas, once again, it was 116 degrees and it's a 2-hour ride. The whole time I was thinking, man, this thing is hot. And when it's this hot outside, it does not help the engine to keep cool. This ride would be much more enjoyable on the Zero SRF. Not to say that a battery in an electric motor can't overheat too, but I mean, this thing was burning my legs. And there's so many other things on an electric motorcycle you just don't have to worry about. Like, for example, I gotta go and get some oil and new spark plugs for this bike today because it is that time. Those are things you don't have to worry about on an electric motorcycle. Oil, spark plugs, oil filter, valve clearances, just things you don't have to even think about. Now granted, if that battery ever stops working, that's the most expensive piece of your electric vehicle. But the Zero motorcycles, their batteries come with a 5-year warranty. And on the SRS and SRF, Zero claims that those batteries will take you 150,000 miles. Now that's gonna, of course, depend on how you use the battery. I mean, if you're driving at 15 miles a day and then you immediately plug it back in, you're killing your battery's cycles. Yeah, you're gonna kill your battery a lot quicker than 150,000 miles. So that's one thing to consider on an electric motorcycle. I get that. But overall, and I'm not bashing on gas-powered motorcycles. We still need them. They're still fun. And in some ways, an electric motorcycle will never be able to compare to a gas-powered motorcycle. But for me, I think that electric may be the way to go for things like my daily commute and just general traveling on a motorcycle. Because I like to travel on my bike too. And that Zero SRF that I test rode was so much more comfortable than a Ninja. And if you've been watching this channel, you've seen that I've ridden this thing down to Phoenix from southern Utah and back. I mean, I like to ride, I like to travel. And while I was able to make the trip okay, it was uncomfortable at times. But the Zero motorcycles, the SRF and SRS, they're just so comfortable. So, yeah, I'll admit it, I'm a Zero fanboy now. But what are your thoughts on electric motorcycles? Leave a comment, and remember to subscribe and give this video a like. And I'll see you next time right here on MC Rockett. And until next time, remember, life is better on 2 wheels, so ride safe.